Right. Hello, everybody. My name is Jenya Zhivaleva. I'm the director and the co-founder of Unravel Surf Travel. So we are a Bitcoin-friendly tour operator based in Mossel Bay, Garden Route, South Africa. I'm also one of the co-founders of the Circumventing, which is the base layer of Bitcoin Ekasi, and we are the guys that are in charge of logistics and your road trip to Bitcoin Ekasi. So I was invited by the organizers to share a real-life practical case of using Bitcoin. So I'm definitely not part of the technical guys on the conference. But they thought that is something interesting for people to share. How does it happen on the ground? So just to give you a little bit of info about me, I'm a Russian, born in Ukraine, lived most of my life in Russia, and been now in South Africa for 15 years. Actually, it occurred to me yesterday that my journey in South Africa started when Bitcoin was born, 2009, meant to be. I don't know if we can see, but I want to start with something like this, just to illustrate what I went through as a tour operator, been working in it since 2011. So from 2015 to 2022, I accepted about 5% of my payments in Bitcoin, and those were just adventurous and people who just wanted to try. Or they had to use it. And then from 2022 up until now, it's about 65% of my payments come in Bitcoin. So there's a massive difference. I think we kind of know what happened in 22, but I just want to explain to you what's behind it. Okay, so we started Unravel Surf Travel in 2011. We were one of the first tour operators to market South Africa as a surf destination on the Russian-speaking market. So because I'm Russian and have a Ukrainian history as well, then our clientele is actually a Russian-speaking, former USSR, Eastern European countries. So that's who we started catering for, creating adventure trips in South Africa with the Russian-speaking guide and a tour operator. In 2014, the first Ukrainian-Russian conflict happened, and partial international sanctions were imposed. So those were not as detrimental as nowadays, but this is when we first started accepting Bitcoin payments. Our first Bitcoin payment came in 2015, funny enough, from Ukraine. But those were Ukrainians who were banking in Russia, hence their banks fall under sanctions, and we thought, okay, why don't you guys want to try Bitcoin? Because this is a solution, an alternative, and they were ready to try it. So that was our first payment with clients, and largely Swift's payment network was still available for all our majority of our clients. So we just played with it, used it, figured out business processes in the company. And then February 2022 happened. So Russia-Ukraine conflict escalates. And in a matter of weeks, our full client base is cut off from financial system. And obviously, as a Russian, I am aware of the conflict, and you follow it, and you understand that, okay, something is brewing, and you keep your hand on the pulse, but you don't expect that it will happen within a matter of weeks, that we still had groups en route, people already in the country, people who paid half their trips, can't get the tickets because now airlines also sanctioned. It's like this whole mess, and I'm sure not only tour operators experience that. Anybody who has clients that side, it's just like cut off, and you only have few weeks to make a plan. So, but BTC payment option was readily available because we experienced in it, we used it, and we are Bitcoiners and been like that for a while. So we used that alternative. So I can safely say that Bitcoin did save my business because it became a practical solution for my unbanked market, people who didn't have an access to financial system. And I could have an instant changeover to Bitcoin payments because I did try it before. Obviously, we faced some challenges, oh my word. I had to now educate clients and agents on the other side of what is this thing, how you use it, where you get it. So obviously you need to educate clients on the Bitcoin, research availability on the other side, and then hold their hand as they do the payments. And now the whole payment process changes. How do you manage it and how you automate it, because you have dozens of clients now. So those were all the challenges, which I did not address alone. So I do not have technical background, okay? It's just a message for businesses and individuals, entrepreneurs out there. You do not have to have a technical background to use Bitcoin. You can actually have knowledgeable consultants, which was my case, who helped me set things up, to set up payments, to be able to track it, to automate it, things like that. This is just an example of who you can talk to. You all probably heard a speech by Ricky on the main stage, so he's definitely one of the guys who can consult and help you, set up things. But what I learned with this experience is that one has to be prepared, and that the things happen so quickly. I mean, sanctions is sort of like a warfare used in a financial system that goes against governments and countries, but regular people somehow need to, make a plan on the go. And with Bitcoin, I was able to do that, but I didn't have to make that happen. I didn't have to figure out as things were I want to say shit was happening, but I didn't have to figure out in the midst of all of it. It was way more it was less risky, it was less stressful, because this alternative can be used, and it will be better if you are prepared and you're not trying to figure it out. So my message is out there. I don't know who is in the group here. Like, are you hardcore Bitcoiners? Have you ever used it or not? But the idea with this presentation was that you do not have to be technical, and you actually don't even need to know much about Bitcoin now. You can still start. It's not too late. You can start playing with it. You can start introducing into your payment system. You can start learning and, practicing it with your more adventurous clients. And then when things happen, which can happen. I mean, Ricky was also talking about it, about South Africa being grey listed. I mean, things happen. South Africa is on an interesting trajectory towards east. So, so I think that's my last slide. Yeah, so the bottom line of this was to show that it is possible to use on a business level, entrepreneurs level, and you can actually circumvent sanctions with Bitcoin. Yeah, but if you have any questions, yes.
Do you ever get any inquiries from law enforcement or anyone say, hey, are you accepting money from this sanctioned country?
Well, I couldn't. That's the whole thing. Like, I could not accept the payments from Russia. No, because what you're doing is that you're accepting Bitcoin payments, so that is peer-to-peer, right? Yeah, yes. So I had a lot of questions when when I had frozen payments came from Russia. Like, people paid me for the trips, the groups paid me, and sanctions happened, and this payment was just like, nobody knows where it is. You try to contact the bank. We tried to track our payments that were sanctioned for, I think, like a month and a half. It was bouncing from one bank to another, and then in the end we received like half. And nobody could tell you what's happening. You call the bank and they tell you, well, it's sanctioned. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, we don't know, Whitney, So nobody on the ground knew it. And then you contact Russian bank, and they also like, those guys, and then, yeah. So it's in the end, I had a lot of questions then, but here you're receiving peer-to-peer, and then, yeah.
Like you mentioned, your customers have to acquire Bitcoin in Russia.
Yeah.
Is that proving to be a challenge? Is like there liquidity available on that side? Is there like a strong peer-to-peer market available?
That is definitely a challenge. So at the end of this, at the beginning of the sanctions, right, there was a lot of exchanges still available. I think Binance was number one, where people were still connecting their regular business cards and buying it. But remember, sanctions means no SWIFT payments, no international transaction. Your Visa card doesn't work, MasterCard doesn't work. So then peer-to-peer side of exchanges come in place. Recently also Binance cut off a lot of those. Well, they did not. The sanctions were imposed on them. So then, yeah, you kind of have to follow, okay, who and how. But there's few smaller exchanges, peer-to-peer obviously, decentralized. There's some ATMs in the bigger cities and things like that. But definitely the pool is quite small, yeah. Yeah.
Are there any restrictions from Russian banks to actually send currency into exchanges
Yes, yeah. So,
in Russia?
yeah. So most of the exchanges, the big exchanges, are not Russian based, right? So they fall under sanctions.
I'm talking about the smaller ones.
Yeah, so then people appeal to smaller, more local, community-based exchanges or peer-to-peer. Yeah.
Is there any resistance from your current banks to deal with those local exchanges?
If not that I experienced that. So as long as they are local and not global, that fall under sanctions and things like that. I mean, look, Russians are resilient, so they come up with all kinds of plans. Look, I think it was somewhere on my slide I was telling you that 65% of my payments come in Bitcoin. So what about the other 35? How do those Russians get access to other form of payments? So then former USSR countries, they have certain arrangements with the Russian banks, and then you as a citizen can go into, I don't know, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, all these countries. You open the bank account there, and then you have a Visa, MasterCard. Right, so but those are fortunate ones because there's all kinds of requirements and things. So sometimes they get hold of the Bitcoin like that as well. But yes, you kind of have to, yeah?
So I mean, on this question initially as well, I mean, even if it's peer-to-peer or ATMs or whatever, that could get flagged on-chain as a Russian entity. So obviously peer-to-peer to you, but you need to pay for things in South Africa.
Yeah,
So
I was
do you
waiting
have
for that question. Yeah.
exchange here, or do you also obviously within Bitcoin Ekasi multiplayer use that kind of circular economy? But again, even if if you pay for things that are Sanctions or whatever, or let's say even using Carl's app to go to Pick and Pay and pay for groceries.
Yeah.
He then needs to still liquidate that crypto at some point, and it's going to go to an exchange, and they're going to be like, hold on, this came from Russia a couple of hops ago.
Yeah.
Have you considered using something like Whirlpool or any other sort of, I don't want to call it a mixer, but effectively a mixer
Yeah.
to just obfuscate that trail and make it a little bit more difficult?
Sounds like I need to chat to you after this. Yeah. Yes, theoretically. We have been recorded. But no, what I want to share is that obviously it would be wonderful if we have Bitcoin Witsand in the whole of South Africa and we don't have to convert to fiat. And I can just use with all my service providers Bitcoin. That would make my life easier, and it supports the whole adoption. And I do go through trouble and try to orange bill and connect with the service providers if they can accept it. Some of my team members accept it, so I do try and cash as little as possible, obviously. But yes, you have to use exchanges or peer-to-peer, the side, to run the operations. Yeah, but yeah, mixer would be good.
What's the official policy of the Russian government towards Bitcoin?
You can, yeah, you cannot pay for products and services directly with Bitcoin. So you cannot, you know, showcase that this is the price in Bitcoin and this is the, yeah. But you can buy it and you can send it to each other. So, yeah. And I'm not sure what's the policy on mining. I'm pretty sure they're mining it, but I don't know if they're allowing it, the individuals. Yeah, so that part I'm not familiar with. Yeah.
Sorry, another one, different question, but like, what is the Russian-South African relationship? Are Russians easily able to travel to South Africa, like visas?
Yeah.
Like that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so because Russia and South Africa are part of BRICS, so they have this arrangement that Russians can come without a visa up to 3 months, and same goes for South Africans, if you guys want to visit Russia. Yeah. Yes, so, and with sanctions, the number of countries that accept Russian guests so easily, like, whoop. So I think I was in the tourism department beginning of the year, and it was just like 150% increase of Russian visitors, tourists, compared to the previous year. So because you don't need visa and because you don't experience so much Russian xenophobia here, a few times, but not as hectic as it is in Europe. Yeah, it's a thing. We had few times where hotels and guest houses wouldn't want to book my groups because they hear they're Russian. And I'm like, they don't work for the government. Well, I still don't care. Or some Europeans would just get up and walk away and don't want to sit with my group in the restaurant. That also happened. Yeah. But yeah. Any more questions? Yeah. Yeah.
Have you felt that the education now on that side has become easier? And if it's become easier, is it because you understand their systems better, or is it because you're actually adopting it?
Necessity. Yeah, that's the, if you don't have many choices, then they're like, okay, explain to me, like I'm ready. But you see, they use it as a form of payment. So they don't want to, majority of agents and individuals that I dealt with, they don't want to keep it. Right, so they buy exactly how much they need to send for the payment, and they don't have to worry about like, will this exchange now also going to get under sanctions? Will those guys close down or things like that? So for them, it's just a very fast and easy form of payment because it's like literally 10 minutes, 15, depends on the blockchain, and then you have it. I wish I can use Lightning, but the payments are too high for the trips and the groups, and that will help with the mixer maybe. Yeah. All right. Don't know if we have more questions.
I think you might have a time constraint.
Cool. Okay, thank you.